Welcome. Today you will learn how to install a Stratacache interactive projector Skymount. 1. Site prep and inventory. Make sure the mounting location is prepped, having an electrical outlet, a Cat5 cable or jack, and a secure surface to mount the projector to. Be sure all parts have been shipped, including the center assembly, connect holder, projector plate, locking pin, pipe connector, hardware packet, including the iBoot and projector hardware, base plate, which holds everything to the mounting surface, electronics rack with cover, power strip, connect, media player, dongle keyboard, D-Link switch, and make sure that you have brought all of the proper materials, including security cables, Loctite spring locks, 4 1/2" by 2 1/2" bolts, lock washers, and washers for above the ceiling, 4 1/2" nuts and washers for below the ceiling. You also want to be sure you have the necessary tools for the installation. 3/4 inch socket, 3/4 inch crescent wrench, 1/2 inch drill bit, a 1 1/2 inch hole saw, flashlight, Phillips screwdriver, tape measure, impact or drill with a 10mm socket bit, a marker, a 6 to 8 foot ladder, and a level. Games will be projected on either a table or the floor. If you are using a table, break down one of your boxes to ensure that any falling debris or tools won't damage the table below. 2. Mounting the base plate. The first thing to determine is that the box opening is centered above the tabletop or floor. If the box is centered above the tabletop, you can center your base plate to the center of that box. Otherwise, you must ensure the base plate will be centered above either the tabletop or the floor, whichever applies. Mark the placement of where the bolts will go. Drill 1/2 inch holes and place the bolts. Since you used lock nut washers on the top side of the mounting location, tightening of the bolts will be possible with one person. The center hole on the base plate accepts the pipe connector. The outer holes can be used to pass power and security cables through. Run security cables through the hole, leaving approximately 2 feet hanging down. 3. Raising the center assembly. Before attaching the center assembly, you must strip it of its components. You must remove the locking pin screws before the connect holder will detach. The center assembly has pivot points to subtly adjust the projector's level. Use Loctite on the pipe connector before inserting into the base plate. It will just twist in. The side that has the flaps will connect to the projector and face the top of the projected image. Tighten the adjustable nut on the pipe connector. You can use the pivot points to level out the assembly. This will require your drill and a 10mm socket. 4. Preparing the electronics rack. Remove the hardware holding the cover in place. Put all of the hardware where it fits within the rack. The switch, the media player. You will slightly need to loosen the bracket. Power brick. The keyboard has a dongle that needs to be inserted into the media player for wireless communication. It uses the back port, which is a blue USB 3.0 port. Connect the DVI to HDMI cable into the media player using the DVI side. If you're installing more than one projector, be sure to label which keyboard goes with which projector. The dongles only work with their own keyboard. Make sure when you're entering your PDU into the unit, the words are readable up and down. Find the Connect Power USB connection. It will plug into the outlet as well as into the front USB 2.0 port of the media player. It will be helpful later if you secure it to the metal bar with a zip tie. Which metal bar? This metal bar. Connect the media player to the D-Link switch using a Cat5 cable. 5. Preparing the connect. Remove all 8 wing nuts and washers. It's important to pass the cable through this portion of the assembly for cable management purposes. Take care to align the Kinect camera as straight as possible. When you're replacing the front bracket, pinch it tight to the camera to ensure stability. You'll know the camera is installed properly when you see this lip is straight. The packaging from within the Kinect box can be used to clean fingerprints from the camera once it has been installed. 6. Preparing the projector. Inside the projector box, you will find a remote and power cable. Add the power cable to the assembly. Since you will be placing the projector on its back, it's a good idea to use the box as a work table to prevent damage. Line the holes of the projector plate up and insert your projector hardware. You know it's the projector hardware because the hardware bag for the projector says projector hardware. If you have a stubby screwdriver, use it to tighten the upper screws. If not, do your best to hand tighten them. Unfortunately, these brackets do not come with a hole for a screwdriver. 7. Time to clean those dirty hands. You will likely notice that your hands are dirty from everything that you've been doing. Since the projector is white, it's recommended that you wash your hands before racking the projector. 8. Racking the equipment. Attach the electronics rack to the center plate using the pin and hole. Before fully lifting the projector, you can attach the power and HDMI cables that are coming from the electronics rack. Insert the pins into the uppermost holes, the ones way at the top, and ensure it is connected before letting go. Now is the time to connect the security cables using spring hooks. One will be hooked directly to the projector, as you can see here, and the other will be hooked onto the electronics rack here. Push the excess cable up through the base plate, wrap it around the ceiling support until secure, and latch into place. It will look something like this. Now it is time to connect the Kinect. Use the same connections as before between the projector and the mount. Gather the connector from the Kinect and find the splitter that you zip tied to the rack. Finish that connection and store your cables out of sight. Reattach the locking pin to the mount to prevent any pieces from unintentionally lifting out. Be sure to replace the 2 screws that you removed earlier. 9. Cable management. Some ceiling boxes like this one will not allow your electronics rack cover to be put on and taken off without removing the rack. If this is the case with your install, leave it off of the unit and be sure all cables are not visible or accessible to the customer. If there is enough room, however, now would be the time to put it back on with the provided hardware. 10. Get some internets. This is the AT&T Wi-Fi services box, also referred to as the Wayport box. The media player for the projection system has a designated port in here, which is port 11. Plug your cable into port 11. If there are 2 projectors, someone will notify you which port you should use. Generally, it will be port 21 when 2 units are being installed. 11. Turning it on. Gently remove the yellow lens protector and lens cover and power on the unit. Find your projector remote and turn it on. Make adjustments as needed for focus, zoom, up and down, left and right, rotation by moving the entire unit. You are looking to have approximately 1/8 of an inch at the top and bottom so there's no settling or bleeding off of the edge of the table. You want to make sure that the space on the right side of the table is equal to the space on the left side of the table. You also want to make sure that you are square to the table by rotating it. It will not fill the entire table. Once calibrations are complete, lock the adjustments. Follow the provided documentation to complete the initial projector setup. Once complete, call Stratacache to complete the calibration process. 12. Calibrations. Stand by in awe as a guy named Mike works some magic. Be prepared to flail your arms and play games in order to debug and check the sensitivity of the sensors. Lucky number 13. Make sure you have taken all of the necessary photos, removed all of the trash, cleaned up the workspace, sent in your pictures and paperwork, and you are free.